substrate you should use for the species of animals you're keeping, from lizards to snakes. And yeah, so just to make it easier, we'll start off with Edna's enclosure. I don't know if I've showed a full enclosure rundown and whatnot, but this is Edna's enclosure. It is 69 by 90 something by 60 centimeters deep. Made it with Dad. Well, Dad and I made it. So got a couple of branches and recently put this one in. Found it down the river. A couple other branches that I have screwed in from the bottom. Got a hide over here. Plants and Edna herself. Basically, since she is a jungle python, jungle jag, she needs a little bit more humidity than other species of snakes. So she's Morelia spolota chenii, and so she, if this was a wild animal, which it definitely isn't, would come from the more rainforesty areas. Obviously, the enclosure doesn't look very rainforesty, but so she needs a little bit more humidity than other species of snakes. Needs to be around 60 to 80%, if I'm correct. So basically, I use Yuki mulch. Don't know if you can see Yuki mulch. Holds in humidity way better than a lot of other mulches and stuff. I did use this mulch. I forgot what it's called. I bag it up just to make it easier, because one bag will fill up the whole bottom of the enclosure. Blah blah blah. So I had that stuff in, not that exact bag, but I had that sort of mulch in, and it didn't hold in humidity, and she kept shedding very terribly. So with the Yuki mulch, it holds in humidity very nicely if you want it to hold humidity. If not, you just let it dry out and whatnot. But yeah, I spray that down not even once a day, because it does hold humidity very well. But so that's what I use for the snake, and let's get to the other. Here I have just my two other enclosures. This one's probably a little bit max full. It's got a couple of babies in there, and then I've obviously got the alb in there. So I use Yuki mulch for these as well. Let me just turn this up a little bit so you can see. Lower this down. I'll bring you closer. So in this enclosure, I use Yuki mulch again. There's a lizard trying to attack my fingers. Hey. So I use Yuki mulch, but I actually dry it out just because I don't want it to get too humidified in there, because some of these lizards will get in respiratory infections and then they may die. So I don't wet it down or anything, I just let it dry. And plus, this lizard is going psycho. Great catch. Come on, come on. So this is Fred, the pink tongue Cunningham. Black eyes as well, which is pretty cool. Don't know if you can see or not, but jet black eyes. So I keep 2 Cunninghams and 2 Flinders Island blotches in there. This is only for now. Can you please just go on your hide? That is only for now because I am in the middle of making all these enclosures. But I use Yuki mulch for this enclosure. Don't spray it down at all. Just because it actually looks nice as well. I don't know if you can see, but it looks nice and natural. So yeah, I use Yuki mulch for that enclosure. Just turn that down so they don't cook. And then, if this can go up more, I also use Yuki mulch in this enclosure, as you can see. So in here I have the alb. He's obviously hiding. I'm not going to lift up that hide because it is pretty much a heavy cinder block just carved out. Yuki mulch, as you can see, put this in yesterday because Bunnings didn't have it any other days, and then I had to just use what I had around. So yeah, Yuki mulch, couple hides, water bowl, lamp, on a thermostat as well, because I don't want to fiddle fart around turning on and off every day, because I am back at school. And yeah, so I pretty much use Yuki mulch for all these enclosures because it can be used for pretty much everything, depending what species you're keeping. Like obviously with the snake you just spray it down, and then with the lizards you don't spray it down and it dries out and it looks nice and it's not dusty at all. And yeah, basically most substrates, well, for different, you use substrates for different reasons. Like just say you're getting a new lizard and you need to quarantine it, then you use like paper towel or newspaper just to make sure it's all clean and it doesn't, you know, have any diseases or anything. And then like obviously you have your loose substrate, which I use in snake enclosure and pretty much all the enclosures, unless they get sick or they have mites or anything like that. So you can use any substrate you'd like, unless it's toxic, then you probably won't want to use that. But so there's loose substrates, then there's like still substrates or something like that, where it's just paper towel or newspaper or laminate flooring or whatever. But yeah, so that's pretty much just a quick rundown on substrates for your lizards, snakes, and whatever you're keeping. Whereas the outdoor pits, you know, it's just dirt and whatever. Yeah, is that all I need to say about substrates? Obviously for different species you use different sort of substrates, but I use Yuki Mush because it's cheap and it has multiple uses for high humidity animals and animals that don't need humidity at all. And like if you have a desert species, which I do not, you can use sand. People don't like using sand, but honestly, like just say I have a bearded dragon and I want to use sand. Bearded dragons come from the deserts and stuff, and they live on sand, so it's not really a problem. But yeah, so different substrates for different species and different requirements for their animals and their enrichments, and yeah. So thanks for watching, guys. This weekend I actually am going to be at the VHS Reptile Expo in Melbourne.